Would you be surprised?
More shutoffs today for thousands of Detroiters behind on their water bills. When the water shutoff started last year, nearly 40,000 were on the verge of having their service cut off. That number is now down to half.
What that really tells us that there are a lot of people who are coming in who are taking advantage of the payment plans, who are getting assistance, and we're really focused on making sure that we're connecting as many people as possible to the help that they need and let them know that they can come in and they can make a payment. It's important that they let us know that they need help and pay their water bill.
And that number down by half right now. The Heat and Warmth Fund is also launching a new program June 1st to help families pay their water bills and avoid shutoffs. It will help thousands. Once you apply, your service will not be shut off. We're lucky here to have some of the best water in the country. In Southern California, water is scarce thanks to a severe drought. Some folks there are starting to think about drinking toilet water. That's right, toilet water. That story and much more just ahead on The Edge. On The Edge tonight, a local mayor under fire. The leader of Highland Park is taking heat for not paying what he owes. As Fox News' Randy Winley reports, people living there are fed up with this latest scandal in the city.
As if the water woes were not enough, there is now a push to get Highland Park Mayor DeAndre Wyndham out of office, and Greg Swanson says there's legal grounds to do so.
By him being in default, he's ineligible to be on the ballot.
Mayor Wyndham owed Highland Park nearly $3,000 for his 2014 property taxes on 2 houses, including this one. The city turned it over to Wayne County because he never paid. He, however, filed paperwork to run for re-election, and depending on your reading of the city charter, that could be illegal.
According to the law, this section 4-3, section A, so since he's ineligible, he will have to be removed from the August 4th primary ballot.
But as I read the charter, one, it indicates that no person is eligible to assume office. One, he's already there.
Highland Park City Attorney Todd Perkins says there's another point in the mayor's favor.
An outstanding bill does not in and of itself create a default.
That's just, his play on the words. Default means that, being in a financial arrearage. So I disagree with the city attorney's flawed interpretation of the charter.
With the way that the language reads, does it appear that the mayor who's running for re-election is in breach of any of the charter provisions? I don't see it at this point with the information that I have.
But call it a coincidence. When Swanson sent this letter to City Hall Tuesday and delivered it in person Wednesday, Mayor Wyndham paid what he owed.
We can't just assume because a certain action happened that it caused or created that reaction.
It would be reasonable to come to that conclusion, though, right?
I would say it wouldn't be unreasonable.
Your initial reaction?
Well, this is just a part of another disappointment of a long line of disappointments that we've had with this particular administration.
The revelations come as residents worry about what will happen with the $20 million Highland Park owes Detroit's Water and Sewerage Department for unpaid bills. DWSD wants to collect by putting the debt on their property taxes. But for now, that's on hold, and Highland Park, Detroit's Water Department, and other parties are in mediation to try to work something out. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. So theoretically, the worst case scenario for people in Highland Park is still very much a possibility. We reached out to Mayor DeAndre Wyndham. Our calls, however, were not returned. I'm Randy Wimbley, and this is The Edge.
There's a new twist to the story that could make things even more complicated. Fox News' Randy Wimbley on the case.
After receiving news that Highland Park could be dissolved in a water deal, another bombshell in regards to the $20-something million it owes Detroit's water department. Turns out MDOT could owe Highland Park the same amount. And Highland Park wants MDOT to pay up, saying for years MDOT has been getting a free ride from the city for treating stormwater runoff on Woodward Avenue, something MDOT has paid Detroit's Water and Sewerage Department for, but not Highland Park.
That's egregious on their part. Maybe it rises the level of some criminal activity, possibly.
Rodney Patrick and other city council members passed this resolution saying MDOT built the city for nearly 30 years out of roughly $26 million.
Could be more.
A spokeswoman from MDOT says it just recently learned of the situation and began immediate discussions with Highland Park about it. But the city claims MDOT fraudulently concealed that it received sewer treatment services from Highland Park since 1986. Councilman Patrick says City Administrator Kathy Square discovered the oversight in April, one that former mayors and state-appointed emergency managers missed.
I always believed that we were paying too much for the drainage.
Wayne County Commissioner Martha Scott was Highland Park City Council president in 1986 and a one-term mayor after that. Do you think they knew about this all along? That folks within MDOT, within state government, knew that they should have been paying you guys money, but they just did not do it?
I'm sure they had to.
This needs to be highly investigated, not just by the state. I would ask the federal government to come and investigate this, because this is basically murder in the first degree of a community.
Former Mayor Lindsay Porter says that money from MDOT could have been a game changer.
We have a real authentic police department now. School district might not have closed.
Wayne County could also owe Highland Park for stormwater runoff treatment costs on the Davison Freeway service drive. So combine that with the looming closure of Highland Park's only high school and the possibility of being annexed by Detroit, people cannot help but wonder.
I hear so many times people talk about conspiracy theories about Highland Park Hamtramck E-course. This kind of leads a little bit of justification to that.
MDOT has agreed to pay Highland Park going forward, but has no interest whatsoever in paying back what it owes. In a letter to Highland Park City Attorney, MDOT Director Kirk Steidel states, because there was no previous agreement in place with the city, quote, we cannot reimburse city stormwater drainage charges incurred prior to April 10th, 2015.
At the end of the day, I feel like you should pay us so that we can become a solvent city ourselves, self-sufficient for ourselves.
Highland Park is suing MDOT and Wayne County, but right now all of it is under a gag order because it's a part of the mediation process for the 20-something million dollars that Highland Park owes Detroit's Water and Sewerage Department. But as always, stay tuned. I'm Randy Wembley, and this is The Edge.
Thousands of Detroiters are in jeopardy of having their water shut off, but help is available. The Heat and Warmth Fund, or THAW, is launching a new program on June 1st to help residents pay their water bills and avoid losing service. The Water Aid program will be funded by $1 million donation from the banking firm Miller Buckfire. It's part of Detroit's bankruptcy settlement.
One of the things we worked out with the water department is while we're processing, once people apply, they won't be shut off while we're going through the process.
THAW will pay up to $2,500 to families scheduled to have their water shut off. We have a link with more information at myfoxdetroit.com.
Change. People in Wayne County will not see a property tax hike this summer, at least not yet. County Commission voted it down. Instead, the Commission voted to approve shifting $49 million from a tax fund to pay for a judgment in a county pension case. Judge says the county didn't pay into the pension fund 5 years ago. However, County Executive Warren Evans says he'll veto the Commission's move. If his veto stands, property owners would see an increase on their summer tax bill. And while some say taxpayers shouldn't be forced to cover the cost, others warn it could push the county to the brink of bankruptcy.
It is just unconscionable that we would sit here and rip off $49 million from a budget that they're trying very hard to put together.
I understand their point of view. I absolutely do. I've just always had as a core issue protecting my taxpayers, the dollars and cents in their wallet.
Now, commissioners could override an Evans veto with a 2/3 majority vote. Today's ruling was 9-5, coming up just short with one commissioner absent.
New news that works for you starts now.
Community leaders are standing together, demanding answers after an epidemic of gun violence.
A shooting at a block party has many wondering, can we feel safe anywhere anymore? Fox 2's Darren After Live now outside the Dexter Elmhurst Community Center where they're trying to come up with a plan. Darren.
Yes, and that spike in crime over the weekend and lately has so many people on edge. Several community leaders met with residents today at that community center right across the street from where that shooting at the block party took place. They tried to come up with a solution, but everyone there knows that nothing is going to change until the stop snitching mentality comes to an end and people start talking. Outrage over the fact that someone could open fire into a block party with kids and not even care. Saturday night, 12 people were shot, 1 killed across the street from Detroit's Dexter-Elmhurst Center, where this community meeting was held. Sources telling Fox 2 a known drug dealer was throwing that block party to thank the neighborhood for not snitching. That same man had been shot last month in a drive-by. He never snitched, and it appears someone came back to finish the job. But because no one is talking, police right now are stuck.
It's a community that really takes care of us when it comes to helping us with the issues in the city. This is not a police problem. This is a community problem. We can't do it by ourselves.
That's why Detroit police, religious, city, and political leaders called this meeting to encourage the community to stand up and the crowd to speak up. But the neighborhoods are also demanding change, more attention, more police, more jobs, more places for young people to go. Tamika Neal says it's so bad she's afraid to leave her house.
People need to stand up, stop being scared. We talk about white people constantly shooting white people constantly shooting at black people. Okay, but what about the black on black crime? Nobody is saying that.
But what about more police? They say they want more police.
We gotta get more police, but everything is not gonna be done with the police. The community are the eyes and ears on the street.
A total of 24 people shot over the weekend in Detroit, and moments before this meeting started, on the other side of the city, 3 guys were shot at this one single house on Tillman. 10 rounds, glass in the street, but no one around, not even the homeowner. Pastor Maurice Hardwick, a former drug dealer who's been shot 7 times, says crimes don't change, but people do, and it's time they do the right thing.
The thing about stop snitching, that only works until it's your family. See, once it's your family, then that doesn't apply because you want somebody to tell who shot your little sister.
We heard a lot from a lot of people. Nothing necessarily new, but a lot of emotion. People just angry with what's going on in the city right now. Again, we've heard this argument several times before. There's not enough places for young people to go. For instance, we have the Dexter-Elmhurst Center. That's where the meeting was held tonight, but it's really not running. There's no air conditioning, no running water. That was something that was talked about. They're trying to get more money here, trying to open up more rec centers. Another big issue we heard is that a lot of people on the streets, felons can't get jobs. I mean, just look right here. I have to show you all of these buildings right here in the area where the block party was, where this community center is, all of them abandoned. No businesses running. A lot of people right now say there's not enough jobs for people who need them. People are desperate. We've heard that before, and they're going to do whatever it takes to survive. It does not make it right by any means, but people say there has to be more opportunity for people out here in the city of Detroit. A lot of people talking. Hopefully, eventually, we're going to get some solutions. We're live in the city of Detroit tonight. Tara Nasher, Fox 2 News. Back to you.
But Tara, by the same token, there were dozens, if not hundreds, of people at that party who who pulled the trigger and who could just by a simple phone call solve this murder.
Oh, absolutely. And police are frustrated. We've heard that so many times because they know the person that did this who is responsible, but they're not speaking. And in fact, as I mentioned in my piece, the person that was shot was shot the month prior, and he chose not to speak. And look what happened to him.
All right, Taryn, thank you. Looks like a discussion for Let It Rip tomorrow night. Hope to see you then. Thank you.
A bloody weekend in Detroit, 24 people hit by gunfire from Friday to Sunday. 12 shot at this block party on Saturday night. 1 person died. Police are calling the suspects urban terrorists.
But not everyone agrees with that label. They say it doesn't help to solve the problem. Fox News' Robin Murdoch with more.
Our youth are in peril. Our youth are in trouble.
On the same basketball court in which 19-year-old Malik Jones was killed and 11 others shot, concerned community members gathered to provoke